So as substitution for the chapters, I don't think there's any real substitute. We have Road to Laughtale Volume 2. I covered Volume 1 last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, and so it's time to cover this one, where Oda talks about black blades, Shanks and Blackbeard, of course concept art, but I think the major thing here is how Oda's hinting that Blackbeard has a new crew member. Yeah, we'll get into all that. But anyway, let's start from the top. How are you guys? It's been quite a while. Hope you guys enjoyed my quick thing with King of Lightning. There will be more parts coming out, more so on his channel, but it's always a fun time with my guy. Either way, we're back in full swing to prepare you guys for the final saga of One Piece. And technically this is what Oda's doing here, because it's a recap, just point blank period. But it's a recap through a theory lens. What that means is Oda's team, and I don't think Oda is doing this, right? Just typing everything up. I think Oda's team is basically compiling all this information and then asking questions like, hey, does a Blackbeard really only need haki? And for a lot of you guys, you've been here. We've talked about black blades and haki before, but we'll break down exactly what they're trying to tell us with this information. So you may be asking, what's a theory lens? Typically for content creators, even if you're not a theorist, well, I don't think I'm a theorist, you talk about the story so much you see sequences and patterns. And so you try to piece things together based on what you see through pertinent information that really isn't highlighted. And so when these things are highlighted in the Road to Laughtale Volume 2, I'm like, I've been there, boys. I know this already. But again, not gonna waste any more time. Let's go through it. So the first thing they talk about is big scoops coming out of the Reverie, which is somewhat breaking down chapter 956. So the first thing is Sabo. What is Sabo's status? And this ties really well into another video I'm going to make in regards to Sabo's future, but they're talking about the revolutionaries facing off against the admirals. After the fact, we saw Fujitora bandages and we did see Green Bull. He seems to be fine, but his devil fruit, based on how it works, maybe he heals by taking power or nutrients or even haki from other people. Either way, an interesting battle went down and something is unusual going on with Sabo. I think Morley has captured Karasu. Lindbergh probably is okay, just because he's, you know, a smart guy. But either way, they're highlighting that everyone that knows about Sabo and saw the news, they're shocked. They're reacting in a way that's not normal. Dadan, Garp, Koala, and even Makino. One thing we do know, though, is that in some way Sabo and Vivi are tied. Not just through the story, but also based on what Oda has said about what's going on with Sabo and Vivi. It was Dumb Festa one year where he said Sabo will, Vivi will, and as someone included them in the same sentence. Of course, they could be completely separate events, but it makes more sense for them to be connected based on the connection to Alabasta against Sabo and Vivi. And we know for Alabasta now, it's been at the center of things. It's been speculation that Blackbeard could go there. Now it's confirmed that Alabasta had information about where an ancient weapon was. And now a major event happened. Blackbeard was gonna go somewhere. The world government is up in arms. There's strange things going on. And so that leads us to think, hey, more than likely Cobra died because a fatality happened at the Reverie, and Sabo could very likely be captured. Now this brings us to the other warlords. The most interesting one by far is Boa Hancock, because Kobe was dispatched to apprehend her. Why is this interesting, Braga? Well, first off, I'll tell you why it's interesting when you sub to this channel. Maybe you've been watching a few videos, you don't even realize you're not subscribed. Sub to the channel, drop a like. And okay, now why it's the most interesting is because we have the most expectations for someone like Kobe. Kobe's had an insane growth rate, going from less than a Navy soldier, right? Much less, to being a captain, and some would say he deserves a vice admiral role. And so now, in this specific scenario, it makes things really interesting because this is an opportunity for Oda to give Kobe a fantastic showing. And so this is the one that's highlighted. Of course, Weevil, Mihawk, and Buggy as well. Buggy now being a Yonko. What's going on with Mihawk? What's going on with Weevil? The only notable person, other than Kobe going after the warlords, was Stainless. Some of you may not even remember who Stainless is, but he's a vice admiral that was highlighted in Marineford. Anyway, that makes things interesting. Now moving on, they highlight CP0 and Kaido and Luffy's clash and just how important it is for the balance to be retained at least for a short amount of time. The Great Cleansing is coming. How is that going to play out? That's anyone's guess, but that goes back to Blackbeard and Shanks. In this article, it somewhat talks about Blackbeard and Shanks as polar opposites, and it's asking the question, what do they have in mind during this turbulent era? When we think of polar opposites, for Blackbeard and Shanks specifically, Shanks seems to be a peacekeeper and Blackbeard is a harbinger of chaos. So the thing is, both people have major things going on, and again, I'll highlight what Oda is hinting here with Blackbeard's 10th Titanic captain. However, Blackbeard has his plots. He's amassing devil fruits, which Honestly, the Shanks that we met back then seemed to be chasing devil fruits as well. He had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, probably one of the most useful or one of the best devil fruits in this series, now that we know. But Shanks, who seems to be somewhat content with where he is and his position, that's the opposite from Blackbeard. Blackbeard is super ambitious. He's aiming for power. Again, like the article explains, his appetite knows no bounds, and he's constantly aiming for the top. I mentioned before, Blackbeard left after the reverie, and he stated that he's going after something. What is he going to capitalize on? Shanks met with the Gorosei, had to talk about something. We speculated to be Buggy, and for the most part, now Shanks somewhat has a monopoly on the Yonko system. Not quite, but definitely leading in his favor. This grand alliance could happen, where we have Shanks, Luffy, and Buggy, 3 Yonko who are tied together, somewhat amicable with each other. Then we have Blackbeard, which leads me to believe that people could join Blackbeard, but I'm gonna save that for my Great Alliance video. Yeah, it's coming. But to the major thing, my favorite thing from this Road to Laughtale is how Oda highlights Blackbeard's ship captains: Shiryu, Burgess, Van Augur, Avila Pizarro, one of my faves, by the way. I don't know why, I just like him in his alias or his epithet: Corrupt King, Lafitte, Katarina Devon, San Juan Wolf, Vasco Shot, Doc Q. Who is the 10th ship captain? Of course, the first inclination is Aokiji. Who else would it be? I don't think so. I think the best guess and the most logical is Moria. Moria has joined Blackbeard because what else would he do? He can't beat him. Then what? You frickin' join him. That's what you do. So I think Moria is a 10th ship captain, but let's jump out there a bit. Who else makes sense? Crocodile? I don't know. I view Crocodile a bit differently post Marineford, and I don't think he'd want to go under anyone. Like Doflamingo tried to ask him. He's like, bro, don't you mean you want me to work under you? He's like, well, you know. So I don't think he'd go under Blackbeard as a ship captain. He's too ambitious for that. You want to say Don Krieg? Would that be hype? You guys can leave your guesses below, but the 10th ship captain, I've seen some people mention Shiki coming back through Blackbeard. Some have even said, hey, what if Rox Dizabek makes an appearance through Blackbeard and he's the 10th ship captain, which I think is absolutely asinine. Would be hype as heck, but asinine. All right. I know I've gone on quite a long time, and this is stuff you should probably just read on your own, but let's quickly talk about the swords. Oda's refreshing our memory about swords and blades, and he's letting us know currently what the 12 supreme grade blades are, or the 12 supreme wazamono, which consists of Murakumagiri, which is Whitebeard's Naginata, Goldie Roger's Ace, his famed blade, Mihawk's Yoru, and Kitetsu 1. The wielder is unknown, but we pretty much assume it's the Gorosei. It specifies that black blades are the most elite in existence. You know what? We'll save the black blade thing for a separate video because there are more things I want to get into based on what they said. So we'll stick a pin there. However, let's get to the concept art, which I think has been very weak based off of the last one. This one is pretty all right. It's showing Kaido's concepts and how Oda probably wanted him to be more Dragonoid through the different designs, but he finally came up with a hybrid form. This is one that I would have loved if he went this route, is King. He said, well, based on the concept art, it seemed like Oda had 2 different routes for King as a character. Be this stoic, quiet character, or this guy that was boisterous and willing to dish out trash talk. Guys, maybe this is just a personal opinion, but I would have loved it if King was this boisterous, trash talking guy that talked the most shit. That would have been so entertaining with Zoro. I think some of King's personality is underappreciated because he's a stoic, quiet, calm character, but typically for those characters, you want them to deliver. And for the most part, I don't think King did. For the boisterous characters that can talk, it's almost like a Grimjaw versus Ukiura. And of course, I prefer Ukiura, but Ukiura, I think, delivered in a way King hasn't. Anyway, a conversation for another day, but I would have loved a boisterous, shit-talking King that could also back it up a bit. There are other Tobiropa stuff that I don't think is as interesting. You guys can go read that if you want to. It's just showing the designs. It's not interesting enough to talk about. But then they talk about Big Mom and how Big Mom is unnerving because her design is a total change of pace from Kaido, where she's intentionally comical, but it contrasts her deadly aspects and it makes her even more unnerving, which I think is fantastic. I think is really good. And that really explains how I feel about Big Mom. That's why she's so scary, because she looks goofy, but she can definitely kill you in a second.
Life or Torito.
They did hint that there could be some secret in the concept art about rocks and why they collapsed with Big Mom and Kaido's relationship, and you guys can make your assessment based on what you see. I don't know what to pull from this. Either way, Oda think the greatest mystery in One Piece is literally the rocks mystery. I think Oda views this as the greatest thing that will bring things together and make you understand so much more, which I somewhat agree, because I don't think rocks is what the world government paint him as. I don't believe the world government anyway, nigga. So there you have it. That was Road to Laughtale Volume 2. Guys, give me your thoughts on it. How did you feel about it? Do you think it lived up to the hype? What is the most interesting thing to you? Who's Blackbeard's 10th Titanic captain, in your opinion, of course. And then also, what is your favorite blade in One Piece? I'm assuming everyone made it here that watched the video. So what is your favorite blade in One Piece? Leave that below. But again, guys, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.